Welcome back to Fixing with Friends. I'm your host, that guy you know, and today we're going to be back working on Cyclops, our 1996 V6 Ford Mustang. And we're going to start with the most glaring issue of the weird noises the engine's making, because that has the potential for some very substantial costs. So we'll pick up there. If you haven't watched our video discussing the problems with YouTube's new terms of service, please check that out. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe. Because we're going to be pushing to 1,000 so that we can actually have some control over the ads when those come in. If you see an ad on our videos, please let us know immediately, because we have to take a lot of the videos down, and we'll probably just be ending the channel at that point. While it's somewhat warm out, we're going to check the codes on the car. See what else is wrong with it. I suppose step one, before I got in the car, should have been finding where the scanner location is. I'm feeling it's under here somewhere. See that dangly thing? I think that's actually... I'm gonna have to replace some of this stuff now that I'm looking. Ah, such a piece of crap. I'll probably have to pull the dash entirely. Fun. Alright. So after a little bit of waiting around in the extremely dirty and concerning car, I think I found, not that you'll be able to see, right there is where I think I need to plug that in. That's the one. So now I need to turn the key. Well, at least the fuel pump works. Curse your infernal beeping. Alright. 6 codes. So 0340. 300, which I believe is just random misfire. 175, don't know what that is. Okay. So on the forums, we found a few different issues that could be the cause. We checked those out. Unfortunately, we had some hard drive issues, and a number of our videos have been corrupted and erased. So, unfortunately, we can't show you all of that. But ultimately, from what we could find, the engine's going to have to be either replaced or repaired. So, that's what we're going to do. David's going to come in and give me a hand a little bit later on, and yeah, we'll pull the engine out. So get ready. One quick note, when you're pulling out the engine, you should really take the transmission at the same time. We didn't, but it's a lot faster and easier, so just do that, trust me. Alright, so let's get this engine out. Let's start from the top and go down. So, in order to get to the bell housing to like engine block bolts, I'm going to have to take off this intake, which means taking off all of this random hosing and other things. This is going to be fun to remember where it all goes. Right, if my hands weren't frozen, this would be easier. I didn't need that skin anyway. So rather than just remove the 2 clamps, I'm going to just take the whole air box off. Is there another one? There should be more than 2. Whatever. There we go. So judging by the maintenance for the rest of the car, I wonder... I mean, it's not... It could be changed, but it's not really worth the money, especially if I'm switching this intake I don't know what we're going to do yet. Now for the throttle cable, has no particular order. Now without breaking it. Oh, no, that happened. There we go, vacuum line tucked away. Even those pliers. Not the right tool for this. Unfortunately, I don't have the right tool with me. Very gently try and fly this marshmallowy hose off. Did I say ply? Prime. There we go. Gently. Oh good, I didn't snap the hose that time. Now, this vacuum thing's in the way, so I'm not positive, but it looks like there's 3 bolts to take off the manifold. One here, here, and one under there. Let's see if there's any others on the way. Of course, they can't all be the same size. 10, 15 here. I think, possibly 14. Now for the vacuum actuator. Alright. Oh good, it's not connected. Well, good and bad. It's probably connected somewhere else. It is. That's weird. This one's already loose. That's what he said. Out of my way. Something else connected. A hose. Unsurprising. Apparently there were 2 hoses, one on each side. Let's see if this one comes off as easily as the back one. There we go. Dose. So, now that that's out of the way, we can see that there's a steel pipe attached to the manifold there, so just disconnect that and hopefully slide it out. Alright. Oh, that's rusty. Let's hope it doesn't snap. That feels like it's going to. Well, hopefully that didn't just break it. I think it broke in a good way. Loose. There we go. Not broken. Alright, let's see if it wiggles. made. I think this is the last of the bolts, but these 4 may be really long and go through as well. I'm not positive what they'd be there for otherwise. At least the bolt underneath matches. It's at 15, just like the other. Well, I'll pull one of these upper bolts out and we'll know for sure. I'm pretty sure they go all the way through now that I've taken a second to look at them. Yep. Oh, it's wiggling. That's a positive sign. Alright. See if I can just pull this off now. That doesn't look very good. Oh, something's still connected. Not anymore. It's another crankcase ventilation hose. So, as you can see, the throttle is actually really tiny for a 3.8 liter. So, I imagine on the next intake we put in, after we swap the engine, it'll be significantly larger because that's smaller than my Oldsmobile, the 2.3 liter. Alright, so just with that we can already see there's a lot more access to the back, the rear of the engine. Definitely a little cobwebby. It's clearly been sitting for some time, or just hasn't been cleaned, because people do that. Fuel injectors and the rails are going to have to come off. Or at least just the rails, but not much point pulling the rails without the injectors. It'll just make a mess. Yeah, should be good from there. So I've reached a point where I'm going to have to get a pan. I don't have a pan with me here. Maybe I'll look around and see if I can find one, but I'll need to drain the fluids, and gas is going to go everywhere if I don't do something with that. So yeah, that's it for right now. We'll probably continue on to make a longer episode. Whatever, I'm going to work on it anyway. Maybe. Come on. It seems a little excessively long for just a bracket. So the bolt at the back was 10 millimeters, by the way, and there's 2 8mm bolts here holding the rail. There we go. I can just disconnect the injector connectors. I'll do the other side. Just gentle taps. Or not. There we go. Looks almost like a mouse chewed through the engine harness there, but obviously that's not the case. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, if I haven't covered this already, the wiring loom, like the packed bundle of wires, is called an engine harness, the one specifically for the engine. Wiggle that off, give me some space. Ah, great. Side clips. One side, the other. Try not to break this because I may need to reuse the engine harness. I hope not, but so dirty. blindly removing clips. There we go. That's a mistake. There. 3 done. Alright, that's off. Disconnect that. Alright, maybe you'll actually be able to watch me disconnect all 3 on this side. It's getting dark. I cannot see. There. That was lucky. Not that you can watch anyway. My hand and the harness and everything else is in your way. Oops. Just clip this side back on. There. All 3. Alright, let's free this loom. I did not cut all the way through, but it looked like it. I'll disconnect this while I'm at it. Might as well. Actually, I'll leave that on while I pull these off. It's a very brittle piece of plastic. Let's see if I can not break it. Nope. Alright. Freedom. Interesting. Which way does this go on? That way. Well, I'm just going to tape that because that's not going to stay on. Alright, so down there is another spot the wiring harness hooks up to the engine. It's for the crank angle sensor. So it's way easier to access from underneath, but I've already loosened it, so. Oh. So for those of you wondering, it fits in like this. So you push down on this little tab and then pull out. You'll probably have to wiggle it very slowly until it loosens. But yeah, just push down, don't yank on it, you'll break it. So, judging by the heater hose that's coming in from the firewall, so from the internal heater core for the cabin, this is probably the engine temperature sensor. So with much persuasion, I managed to get this uncovered part around that, just in this corner here and up and over, so you don't have to pull all the brackets off. Well, now that my hands are dirty, I'll put my gloves back on. So, it's about time we drain the coolant. There, that should do it. Maybe. Oh good, we've already started. And this doesn't exist. That makes things easy. Yay. Now we get to see if I've just completely misidentified the drain plug, since there seems to be 2 on this. What if it's that plastic thing? No, I'm gonna check. So, after some quick checking, these 2 plugs are 2 unused fittings for another vehicle or model that this is shared with. Like it could be for the GT, I don't know. Anyway, so I could drain from there, but there's actually one over there. Alright, the camera is a little precarious, so we'll see if it falls over. Usually these are in a bit better position, but this little white plastic hex screw, usually the drain plugs are plastic, so that gave it away. Alright, so I think it's somewhere around a 19mm. Yes, that seems to be the case. Hope it doesn't pour out the little hole at the end. Alright, we'll see what we see. Does not pour out the hole at the end. Alright, we'll leave that for a bit. Now, I don't have to remove this, but sometimes it helps to let the air escape so it can drain faster. And I mean, it's going to get trapped in certain passages anyway, but we'll see. It's a bad place to put that, just in case it falls in. So, because of how high those two heater core hoses are, it's unlikely that it'll actually drain at all, because the heater core is going to be down there somewhere, most likely, unless it's intelligently designed, which it might. Just would be a new thing for me. Anyway, so it'll probably have some coolant still in the heater core. It's not a big deal. It'll get new coolant later. It'll just kind of mix in with the new stuff. So, while that drains annoyingly slowly, let's try and tidy up some of this, because it has to come out anyway. 1, 2, 3. You know, I'm not sure that last one was even on properly. Yes, I can count to 3. What's the point in having this if I have to take off more? Let's make taking off an insignificant part difficult. See what's underneath. Well, at least one of those went coolant. 2 of them. Why they needed 10mm bolts to hold down the piece of plastic, I will never know. So this plastic cover was definitely missing from the Mustang I pillaged the coolant reservoir from. And this has a fair bit of coolant in it. No, that's definitely just rainwater. Doesn't that look delicious? So good. Throw this back on for now. Nah. One less thing to get in the way later. Apologize for the neighbor. Maybe I didn't need to detach that, that's for the upper part. There we go. Nope, I definitely did. Must you be so inflexible? Well, that was a bit of a job. If you're wondering what the sound is, it's some kind of newfangled scooter with a motor on it. There. See how much tidier the engine looks without that weird tendril? Come on, coolant, rain. Faster. So I've got the coolant stashed away. And if you're wondering, no, we're not sponsored by Quaker State. I just buy it because it goes on sale for 15 bucks each, which is pretty good. It's a decent oil. I use it in my vehicles. I just picked some up for this because I was already there. Of course you did that. Of course you did. So, right here, this metal pipe is holding down the fuel rail. I might be able to disconnect this tube here, which doesn't look like it has a hose clamp on it, concerningly. If that's the case, that's easy. I can just pull it off and then we can pull this up. I'm always impressed. This camera has so much better low light than my eyes do. Where does this connect to? Heater core. I can disconnect that. You know, all the times this camera falls, it's eventually going to break. And I don't really have a replacement, so I guess we'll just be doing it on the phone. Great. I should really replace this stand thing. The suction cup doesn't hold on to it anymore. You used to be able to hang upside down from a sunroof. Can't do that anymore. Quite oxidized in there. I suppose I should disconnect the other side first. I don't think you can see that, but I'm gonna take this bolt off. Or nut, I suppose. Whatever. Let's see if that's freed it. It has not. Maybe I'll just pry. You know what? I'd rather disconnect that fuel line. It's less likely to break something and less important if I do. Come on. Don't break. Very slow progress. It'll all come off suddenly or snap. Is that an inner hose? Could just cut it. That would be a lot easier. A lot more straightforward. And I could replace it with any old fuel line. Let's just do the intelligent thing. Well, the sun is setting and we don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm just gonna do this. Alright. this damn hose out. There, Sans injectors. I should be careful to vacuum this before I do anything so nothing goes into the cylinders. Today, David is going to be helping me out. So what's your history with cars and stuff so far? Let's start with, what cars have you owned in the past?
Cars have I owned in the past? Probably the most exciting one was a 95 Z28 Camaro. I've had an Audi A4, which I believe was a B5 model, and 2014 F-150, and right now I've got a fairly boring car, an Audi Q5.
Nice. Well, boring, but still inarguably better than my cars. But yeah, and you've done lots of work on them as well over the years, like most of the maintenance you've done yourself in the past.
Yeah, I've done lots of stuff. Learned to change oil when I was 10 years old, so been always working on cars.
Yeah. And what was the thing that we fixed on your Audi that ended up costing a fortune, even though it shouldn't have been?
On the old one?
Yeah.
Oh, what didn't go wrong on that car? Fixed like the window regulator. That was really expensive for what it was.
I think the other thing was you needed, the thing I'm thinking of was, at some point we had to replace like the hubcaps or something.
Oh yeah, just like literally the hubcaps, and it was like $100 for a hubcap.
Yeah, and they weren't even like big ones. They're like,
yeah, like
an inch and a half. Yeah. Anyway,
German cars for you.
All right, so we're gonna go get to work. All right, so the plan is we're gonna drain the oil and pull the rest of the fuel lines out, start on the Bellhousing bolts, and see where we get to at that point.
Let's need this tray. This may not work. We'll see.
No?
Well, it's cold, I guess. The oil shouldn't shoot out.
But it is, like you said, a little bit because of where the jack stands are.
Yeah.
Well, I'll hold it up and we'll see. Speaking of, I should grab a rag or something. Oh, that's not too bad. Also a little concerning.
Good to go. Who knows when the last time it was changed.
Yeah. Well, judging by how long the guy had it sitting, at least 6 months ago. And
this is a quality oil filter on the Lubrifiner.
I've never heard of that.
No, I haven't either.
Alright, so I guess pulling off the plastic thing and not breaking everything. Did you see where it connects?
Oh yeah, just this right here.
No, is there actually like screws for this, or does it just clip in?
I didn't see.
Maybe we do have to take it off when it's up.
What do you need to do? You have to take it off the windshield.
Well, the door panels, you literally just had to pull out like one plastic fastener and you could just lift it off, which is the easiest door panel I've ever taken off. I think maybe we should, so we don't just break it. So I'm trusting with you with this one, just pull it up. I know we're not going to be able to slide it off there, but at least if we can pry it up enough so we can get the hood. Where did you?
Right at the very outside edge.
Where it's kind of under the A-pillar?
Yeah.
It's breaking it slightly. So we got to be very careful with this because as I found, the plastic is, well, it's 90s plastic, which no one likes.
Plus it's old.
Yes, plastic is old. So it's doubly That's probably good enough.
So,
Yeah, that's good enough.
yeah.
Don't even have to pull it off. You want a screwdriver? Try these gloves, just so you don't get insulation wounds.
Pull this off.
Not that way, but if you pass with the screwdriver. I don't know which kind this is, the bump or the one you pinch. It's the one you need pliers for. Oh. Well, the same thing ended up happening, but at least it's not entirely torn. So dusty. So that's what those look like. Got some in my mouth. There's no real good way, I think, of taking those out. Just cutting them. It really went through all the effort just for a light.
Just pull that last thing.
That would be easier this point than this. Oh, that was literally the easiest one. Yeah, that was the plan, just buy in bulk. Well, these ones I can mostly use, because if you wiggle them out, it's not much of a problem. Seems like a lot of effort just for removing a hood. How many are needed? I mean, if it's already held up by this. Really? Like right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, while David is doing bathroomy things, I'm going to get those bolts at the back. That's interesting. Did he do that while I wasn't paying attention? It's off now. No, I don't need that off. I'll just leave it. I don't know how much you can actually see. Did you pull the windshield wiper off, or did it just you?
Alright, but you pull it off.
Nope, it's decided on its own. Yeah. Go ahead and just set that in a pile of stuff over.
I'm just kind of interested in how it came off.
Yeah, so there's those two prongs on the side. Slide a metal plate that's like a retaining plate.
I see.
But I don't actually see how it moves, just that it does.
Oh, I see how that happens. Yeah, how that works.
Cool.
You want to see?
Sure. Or
show the camera.
Yeah.
This is the windshield wiper. If you're ever wondering how to take it off, you can see this small metal pin that locks it on. And if it was in the on position or down position on the car, it'd be like that. And you couldn't move that, it's locked in. So if you lifted the windshield wiper up, that frees it up, push this out of the way, and it can come right off. That would definitely be why I didn't notice it before, because I was looking at it when it was folded down. It's always done with, like, I don't know if you've lifted Brian's, but you pull this to the side. Yeah. And it's the most awkward movement. You'd think it'd have like an actual handle or something.
Yeah, that should be nice, especially for this part. You don't have to be hiding under the hood. So we do have to get this wire out.
It doesn't look like it's attached.
No, it's just in the way.
It's just this little anchor point here. This whole
Yeah. I'm wondering if maybe this bracket plate would be easier to take off. Here, you guys can't see literally anything I'm talking about. So down there is, we need to get down there to be able to pull the bolts out, but yeah, what do you think? See if we can pull the bracket off, or just take the like wiring loom out.
Well, it's not a lot of play either way.
No. Probably easiest to just hammer out the, or squish out the little anchor.
Might be able to pry them out from this side.
Yeah. Alright, we're gonna put your mystery beverage somewhere closer to you. Like on the car is fine.
There's also wider screwdrivers as well. Probably help. You want to go run and grab one?
Did you get it already? Oh no, not into the intake, into the fuel injector ports. The intake matters too, but
Less so.
next. Yeah, I don't know. Bother putting something over the intake. It's just coming out. Well, thanks for plugging the oil pan. Do you want to pull? That looks pretty murky. Alright, you're gonna grab the radiator hose.
Take the radiator hose, use a pair of vice grips to lift the tension clamp off. That's the idea.
Here, I'll move this out of your way. It doesn't need to be there. It's still in your way. Alright. Back and forth action.
Okay, I see how this works. When I work on these, I always switch them out for band clamps.
Yeah, me too. Well, also when we put them on, they don't really like keep their tension because springs wear out over time. Oh, gasoline everywhere. Where did that big mound of? Yeah, I had
Chicken wave channels.
turkey. No, the other one. Yes, like snapper. Best performance mod. Well, I guess the cardboard was under there. Everything on the car should be metric, or on all modern cars, but you never know what someone else has put on. This is a bad angle. Have you already loosened it? Yeah, you usually though have to hold the other side so that it doesn't loosen. But yeah, it's definitely the smaller one. Well, nicely done. I even was recording. We should design some sort of ratcheting open-end thing with like a rocking head. That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Because Wrenching is the most tedious thing ever.
Sure is.
And it's not leaking, really, which is concerning. But cool, that's done. All right, let's pull the hose out if we can and just kind of lower it down into the tank so it's out of the way. You want to seafoam the exhaust, and then we can start getting that apart.
Alright, penetrating lubricate.
If you can fit that down there, you'll probably have to like drop it down and then. Oh, not on the manifold, but on the.
Yeah. Freaking, there's no way I'm gonna get it down there.
Well, if you slide it down and then follow your hand afterwards, you might be able to get it closer. But because those cans don't come with a hose, like it's basically the dumbest design I've seen for that.
Blind shooting. Wow. That may have worked.
So I don't like these manuals. They're like, just take the clip off and pull it apart.
Simply take it off and pull it apart.
I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones you need those sliders for. The other one I'm not so sure. Is there one with opening this wide to slide into, or no? Because I always don't like yanking on things, because that's how stuff breaks, but whatever.
There's not a tool that I have that would fit that.
Okay, so let's assume that is not the intent.
More gasoline.
Alright, gently pull this off and see if it breaks. I'm pulling as gently as I can while still pulling, which is taking way more effort than it should. Success. Damn you, hose. Alright, done. So let's pull it off from, like leave it on the engine and disconnect it from the firewall.
Yeah, that's the thing to do.
Just sorry, I was going to say watch for that hose, it's quite fragile. I disconnected one and it literally like snapped as I was just like loosening it. Alright, those are always fun.
It's got a big barb on them.
Yeah, you need to, they freeze on, so usually if you break it, you like break the seal, you can get it off, but it requires a lot of twisting and
Messing around.
I don't know if I have a hook. There's like a hook tool you can.
Yeah, so I gotta find out this problem with Save's car.
What's happening with her car?
It's got a clunk in the suspension. I was quite sure, I was like, it's the ball joints, it's gotta be the ball joints.
Well, it's usually the ball joints.
And it was the middle of the winter and I didn't really feel like doing it, so I said, well, just take it to back in the saddle, tell them to change the ball joints, and they're gonna say, well, we want to diagnose it, and I just said, just tell them, just change the ball joints. They did, and it wasn't that.
Well, it could also be the bushings on like any of the control arms or something.
So then they said it was the tie rod ends, so I call it the tie rod ends.
That seems unlikely.
They're doing it, so I was like, alright, those are cheap, so yeah, not a big deal. $50, I'll get the parts and change them for you. Did? Not the tie rod ends.
Yeah, like usually it's.
Or not the, sorry, not the tie rod, the sway line ends.
Okay. Because I was going to say the tie rod. Seems unlikely, it's possible, but usually, is it like a loud clunk?
Because whenever she goes up like over a bump on the street or curb or something, it's quite a loud clunk.
At the front?
Front, yeah.
Okay.
And it's on the driver's side, and I can replicate it by kicking the tire in. But I don't know what it is. There's only so
Kicking
many.
the tire in, so it's not. Like normally when there's
Yeah,
play
there's
this way,
not obvious
it would
play.
be the bearing, and then you'd be able to hear that in a different way. But yeah, I can't say without looking at it, but my guess is it's a bushing somewhere that's just letting it wiggle too much. It was funny, someone who we won't name, their car had, they're like, oh, what's wrong with it? It's making all this noise. And it's like, we went and did a test drive. I was like, yeah, I hear that too. Are you sure it's not just what's in your trunk?
Yeah.
They're like, no, it definitely isn't. And then we drove around again. It's like, yeah, I can't tell you exactly what this is. It's like, let's pull this box out of your trunk first to be sure. And
Sure,
then
it was.
and then that's exactly what it was. It's like, well, we just wasted like an hour or two or whatever. So yeah, it needs some kind of a hook. I don't know if I have those then. Now, I doubt this Allen key will be long enough, but hypothetically,
Squeeze it under. Alright, fast forward to useful point in time.
as I figured out today, you can use an Allen key instead of a hook. It's not as long and obviously not ideal, but yeah, so you just sneak it underneath the hose, which might take some doing, and run it around the outside. So you just kind of break it free inside the tube, and then you can pull it off. And if it didn't work, these wouldn't have come off. So, some truth to it.
Taking off the lower coolant hose from the engine right here. Already undid the band clamp and it'll come right off. So we got a long socket extension that reaches up to the just above the catalytic converter, 18 millimeter. Gonna have to turn off those bolts, disconnect those, because we figure this might be easier than taking the manifolds off the engine. We'll see. The shadow there, you can see the down pipe probably. Alright, get onto a bolt down there
Ready?
and give her.
Let's see if this does anything. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like it's coming off. So, we have a man down. I don't know if you can see here. Split it open. Now that I've damaged my eardrums from the compressor tool, feels like I'm underwater. So the exhaust ducts are not coming out. So to squeeze my hand in, I push back on this plate, which tightens up the bolt. Wonder if I can. Loosen, damn it. I just use my fingers now. Alas, the tedious wrenching persists. Oh wait. Nope. So, all of these Bellhousing bolts are 13 millimeters. Alright, I should be able to loosen that with my hand now.
Oh, maybe.
see. This must be entertaining for you.
Oh, you want to come under here with me? Fine. So, the bolt we need to remove. Let's try this again. Is up. So, the bolt we need to remove is right up here. And I'm going to try doing it with just a really long socket because I'm lazy. Probably don't even need this part. I do not. Yeah, I went through and loosened all these up. It took a long time. And some weird bending. Weird bending. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching me do nothing. And it's too snug, I still need a ratchet. You know, you're really in the way right now. Because right now, I have to do this blindly. Because you have to see. Am I one too far down? Am I one too far up? Okay, so now I need to reach that wrench with this hand, and you're in the way. Why must you make life so difficult for me?
Nope, I can't see.
Wow, dust has filled one of my eyes. SOB.
There we go.
Or not. If I'm gonna ever design a bell housing, I'm gonna design the face or the bolt pattern so that I can just like maybe angle the surface so that I can just stick these straight on and take them off with an impact driver. Just that was a horrible impression, but I'm not really into it right now. I mean, sure, they might have planned to have it removed with the engine and then disassembled from there, but you should always have it, especially in rear-wheel drive, it's just, you know, that little bit of extra clearance, whether it be widening the tunnel or repositioning the bolts so they're accessible. Alright, I think this can come out now. Yep, success. Alright, I don't even know if this is worth filming. Since can't get a good angle. Yeah, making a lot of progress right now. Finally. Here, I think it's the only one. I can't really see though. Looks like there's a bolt from the oil pan, two of them actually, for the bell housing. That was not tight at all. I just twisted that back in. Dumbass. Stop watching my finger play. Stop it. It's a waste of your time. So those were both short. I'll have to remember those ones go down here. I don't even know if you can see that upper one. No, probably not. There we go. It's a really awkward angle. So that one is even shorter. Just remember it goes on the passenger side. The other two short ones go on the driver's side by the clutch cable.
So up near the top of the screen is the starter bolt.
All right.
Yep. Of course that would happen. I don't know if I have a skinny enough wrench. No, see, they built it with narrow bolts, or like nut fittings, so that my wrenches won't fit because they're slightly too wide. At some point I'm really going to have to buy a narrow set. Maybe I can make do. Now normally this is an indication that someone over tightened the outer bolt, but in this case it's probably just rusted. See what else I can find. Alright, so this one fits. Sort of. I can't see what I'm doing at all. Could be completely out of position here. There. Alright. That one's out. That's off. This one's gonna take some more twisting. One more up top. Alright, I don't know if you can see way down here, all the way through the hole where the engine mount is. You can get to the upper bolt for the starter. Sorry, I'm trying to do like 4 things right now. There. As long as the camera doesn't fall down. Speaking of, just a little long. Success. Alright, so it's minor bending. I think I've managed to free it enough to take this off. Yes. On this side of the starter, there's a little black thing. I don't know if you can see, but there's a clip, there's a little flap. So all you should have to do is squeeze it and pull it off. That's that one done. Alright. I'm guessing it's 13 millimeters. I was correct. It was loose, which was good. That's how it should be. Well, not loose, but only lightly snug. So much easier without gloves on. wires? No, just the one. It just didn't want to come off, and now it's falling on the ground, which is, you know, I'm sure great for it. So we're going to pull the Serpentine Belt off. It's a little hard for you to see, but down here, this is the tensioner. And I like to use the offset wrenches that I have. Makes it a little bit easier. And this one's 18 millimeter, which is a little bit unusual, but again, not that familiar with the car. This one's a bit interesting. Usually they've got tracks, but this one has, well, it has tracks, but also chunks, I guess, grooves running diagonally. I suppose that would help with the flexibility, so it doesn't crack constantly like most of them do. So when I go to pull the engine, I'm going to take this off kind of at the same time and just hang it over to the side so we don't have to bleed the system. But it's really just those exhaust bolts that are holding us back right now. And by us, I mean me, but also you, because I assume you want to watch this. Perhaps that's a poor assumption. Now, I could be wrong, and I very often am, but I think we can pull the engine out today. I finally got those exhaust flange bolts out. See if you can see down there. There. See? It's now loose. Alright. So I have this engine sling, I guess. We're going to hook up. I took a quick look around. There's nowhere really good to put this. So I'm going to anchor it at these 4 points. And then at the back. Generally, when you're hoisting an engine, you want as little slack as possible, just so the crane can actually go up all the way, and you don't have to worry about not getting the engine out or smacking roof things. I may end up pulling the car out of the garage entirely. Anyway, let's see how this goes. First, it'll be taking this off. It's good. It means it's got lots of thread depth, no, I don't know, gripping length, although this bolt is very skinny. Yes, if they're all like that, this is not going to work. Say what you will about GM, but they tend to oversize their bolts. I don't know. It has a lot of length, but I just don't think this can hold that kind of weight. Even with 4, it's just too tiny. Alright, we'll see what other options I have first. So this is what I decided upon. It's a bit of a mess, but considering what I have, it seems like the best option. I would have wanted to go with these larger bolts down here, but you can't actually fit the brackets down, so it's either these, what I have, entirely on the top, which I could have done with like these ones, but then I'd mar the mating surface even more. I think I should be able to get away with this, we'll see. See if I can get this in without taking the tire off. Not that it'll matter, since it's really coming down to this door. Alright, 4 bolts holding the air conditioning unit on. Or the AC compressor, I should say. Nope, it's optional. Hit it with a hammer. That seems ill-advised. I'm guessing it's just oxidized together. It's because my pry bar isn't here. There. And I was right, it was oxidized. Okay. I'm going to take this air filter out. Then you can live. Right in there. Yeah, I feel like that's about the best we could hope for right now. It's not what I want, but whatever. Alright, well, here goes. Now this is right when you find out that you've forgotten to take something out. Alright, begin lifting. Wiggling, that's a good sign. The most important thing when you're removing an engine is to make sure you take it slow. Just constantly check around the engine to see if there's anything still attached or if something's snagged, because stuff moves around. Well, just about clear of the studs. I bet that's exactly what you were all thinking about. That sounds bad. And we're out of the mounts, so cool. Alright, I'm gonna lower it a touch so we get out of the room. I touch it now. Stop. Stop. I don't want to break that. Sounds like the clutch plates. I have to be very careful. Alright, I'll lower it down just a bit more. Stop! Such a bad sound. Seems so much worse. Oh, I passed the point. Reminder for me later, take the radiator fan out. See how high we can get this before I hit the door. How long were you paused for? So I forgot the O2 sensor. I hope that was filming when I freed it. I'm a little concerned about the clutch, but and remind me to remove the radiator fan if you didn't hear that before. That will make it easier to put it in. There we go. Take that bracket off. Oh, there's other bracket. There are a couple brackets mounted to the engine mount on the engine side. Those are just for the harnesses, so I don't want to rip those out. Oh, I hope that wasn't just filming that whole time. So the ground wire, or it looks like there's a ground wire mounted to sort of the rear of the engine somewhere. I can't really see it because I don't have a light. So I'm going to go grab that and take it off, and then we can pull it the rest of the way out. So, I was wrong. It was in fact for the block heater. Good news is that's just an easy plug you just pull off. Something I completely forgot about because my other two cars don't have one. I mean, they have the ones that I installed. Can't remember if that's on a video or not for you guys. Probably. Anyway, engine hoist. Should really fast forward this. Sorry, you fell over again. I don't think I broke the clutch. Nice. Yeah, I actually have enough space, I think, to pull it out. Yeah. Got about a foot. It's gonna be close. You can't see that, but... So this is how close it is to the garage door. It's, I don't know, within 4 inches. That's a pretty close guess, but I've got enough clearance to swing it out. So we're gonna do that. One thing I didn't really think about is where I'm gonna put it. So first thing I'm gonna do is lower it down a bit more. It's just safer for both me and the engine. It's close to the ground. It's not gonna tip over, it falls, it's less likely to destroy itself quite so much. Could lower it a bit more. So, that's what the engine looks like. These were the things that got stuck. That was fun. I got to use this cool tool though that I first saw on the Haggerty rebuilds. Check those out, they're pretty cool. The red line rebuilds. It's just a heating element in a coil, and it heats it up until it's glowing hot, and you can take it off fairly easily. One of them less so. I'll show you that one now. Doesn't look like I broke it. Oh, it's on the inside of the car. Right there. So that one didn't end up coming off, but it's out. That's the most important thing. So that's the engine out. Honestly, it took more time, far more time editing that video than it did pulling the engine out. But it's done. It's not looking great for the budget of the car, let's be honest, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not we can still make a profit or even break even. If you're wondering why David disappeared partway through, that's because he unexpectedly got called away. His wife, well, former wife, needed something, and so he had to go deal with that, which is understandable. I really appreciate him coming out and giving me a hand. Lots more to come on the Mustang and the Datsun. Hopefully we'll be able to actually work on some other cars, but with the way things are right now, it's not likely to be happening, at least very soon. So, see you then.